Pickleball. You've probably heard of it, right? It's literally America's fastest growing sport. And it's easy to see why. It's super social, a ton of fun, and pretty much anyone can pick it up. But there's a flip side. Beneath all that fun, there's a really surprising and pretty costly epidemic of injuries. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into why so many people are getting hurt playing this game, and more importantly, what you can do to keep yourself on the court and out of the doctor's office. You know, this quote just nails the experience so many people are having. Let's talk about Carol. She's 58, gets totally hooked on the game, starts playing every single day, and boom, 6 weeks later, she's dealing with a serious injury. And here's the thing, Carol's story, it isn't some rare exception. It's basically the blueprint for what's happening on courts all over the country. And when you actually look at the numbers, well, the scale of this problem is just staggering. $400 million. I mean, let that sink in. That's the estimated cost of pickleball injuries every year in the US. We're not just talking a few ice packs here. This is emergency room visits, actual surgeries, months of physical therapy. It's way beyond a couple of sprained ankles. We're looking at a real public health issue, and honestly, it's caught a lot of experts completely off guard. So what's really going on here? What's the culprit? Is it the gear? You know, these fancy new high-tech paddles? Or maybe it's the rules of the game itself, creating these dangerous moments. Or is it just a classic case of newbie overzealousness? People getting super excited and just going way too hard, way too fast? Well, that's the big mystery we're about to dive into. Okay, so the truth, there's no one single smoking gun. It's not that simple. In fact, sports medicine pros are calling it a perfect storm. You've got a whole bunch of different factors all coming together at the same time, creating this, well, this uniquely risky situation. And to really get it, we've got to start with just how unbelievably fast this sport has grown. Just take a look at this. It's kind of crazy. In just 3 years between 2020 and 2023, the number of people playing pickleball just exploded. We're talking over 150% growth. The pandemic was a huge part of that, for sure. It got millions of new people out onto the courts. And this massive, super fast wave of new players, that's the first major ingredient in our perfect storm. So let's start our investigation with suspect number 1, the players. All right, section 1. Let's investigate the people actually holding the paddles. Who exactly is playing this game, and what kind of vulnerabilities are they bringing with them to the court? The answer, well, it's a little more complicated than you might expect. So, check this out. What's really fascinating here is the demographic breakdown. I mean, yeah, people of all ages are playing, but the single biggest group, it's adults over 55. And look, that's amazing for keeping people active as they get older, but it also has some massive implications when it comes to injury risk. Let's break down why that is. This right here perfectly illustrates the 2 different ways people get hurt. You've got your younger player, right? They might get an overuse injury because they're playing super aggressively day in and day out. But for an older player, the real danger often comes from one single sudden movement, like an explosive step or a fast pivot that their body just wasn't ready to handle. And here's the crucial thing to understand. As we age, our bodies just change. It's a fact of life. Proprioception, which is kind of like your body's internal GPS system, it starts to decline. Bone density goes down, which means a simple fall could lead to a fracture. And our tendons, they lose their elasticity, making them way more likely to tear during a sudden move. This isn't about being in shape or not. These are just the non-negotiable realities of getting older. And this quote from a physical therapist just hits the nail on the head. It's the newbie factor. The game is just so darn addictive that people go from sitting on the couch to playing for hours, 6 days a week, practically overnight. Their excitement just blows past their body's ability to actually adapt to all that new stress. And, you know, eventually something gives. Okay, let's move on to our next suspect, the equipment itself. Could the gear we're using, the paddles, the shoes, actually be part of the problem? Well, the short answer is absolutely yes. So you've probably heard of tennis elbow, right? Well, say hello to its very close cousin, pickleball elbow. Medically, it's the exact same thing, lateral epicondylitis, and it is becoming incredibly common. It's a classic overuse injury, and it's caused by all that repetitive stress and vibration that travels from the paddle straight up your arm. And listen to what Dr. Rain says here. The paddle market has just exploded with technology aimed at performance. They've gotten lighter, stiffer, way more powerful. Which is awesome for your game, sure, but it can be terrible for your arm. These stiffer paddles send a lot more shock and vibration up your arm when you don't hit the ball perfectly, and that's a direct cause of these elbow injuries. The tech is all about winning points, not protecting your joints. Now this might be one of the most important and most overlooked pieces of the puzzle. So many people just throw on their running shoes to play. But think about it. Running shoes are designed for moving forward in a straight line. Pickleball is all about quick cuts side to side. Wearing running shoes on a pickleball court, it's kind of like trying to go hiking in high heels. They have terrible lateral stability, and that just skyrockets your risk of rolling an ankle. You've got to have proper court shoes. It's essential. Okay, for our third and final suspect, we've got to look at the very DNA of the game, the rules themselves. As it turns out, the way pickleball is designed actually creates some unique injury traps that a lot of players, well, they fall right into them. Let's talk about the most dangerous 7 feet in sports. No, really, we're talking about the non-volley zone, or as everyone calls it, the kitchen. And that little patch of court might just be the riskiest spot in all of rec sports. Why? Because of that one unique rule: you cannot hit a volley while standing in it. And that rule is directly connected to some of the most common and most serious injuries. So let's break down exactly how this happens. Picture this. You're right up at the kitchen line, in the middle of a soft little dinking rally. All of a sudden, your opponent pops a ball up, and it's dropping right at your feet. To hit that ball legally, you have to take a sudden reactive step backward out of the kitchen. And it's that awkward, off-balance, often panicked backward lunge that is the #1 cause of sprained ankles and torn Achilles tendons. So here's the good news. You can actually train for this. Sports medicine experts call it practicing kitchen awareness. It's all about staying low in an athletic stance and literally drilling that backward step. You practice it so it becomes a smooth, controlled movement instead of a panicked, clumsy reaction. Honestly, this one simple adjustment might be the single best thing you can do to avoid a serious injury. All right, so we've looked at our suspects, the players, the gear, and the game itself. We've got a pretty good idea of what's causing all these problems. So now, let's solve this case by focusing on the most important part: how to prevent it from happening to you. So here's the verdict. There isn't just one single thing to blame. It really is that perfect storm we mentioned at the beginning. You have a massive wave of new players, many of whom are older and maybe not in peak condition, using equipment that's built for power, not safety, in a game that has its own unique physical traps. It's the combination of all three. So what can you do? Well, the single most effective thing is to prepare your body before you start playing hard. This means doing exercises that mimic what you do on the court. Practice the side-to-side shuffles, work on your balance and that proprioception we talked about. Strengthen your rotator cuffs and your core. The bottom line is, don't let the pickleball court be your only form of exercise. So let's wrap this up with your safety checklist. These are practical things you can do right now. First, follow the 10% rule. That means you only increase how much you play by about 10% each week. Don't go crazy. Second, invest in proper court shoes. Protect your ankles and knees. Third, always, and I mean always, warm up with some dynamic movements before you play. And finally, prioritize recovery. Rest days aren't about being lazy. That's when your body actually gets stronger. Which really leaves us with one big final question. The growth of pickleball isn't slowing down anytime soon. So, can the culture of the sport evolve? Can it start to prioritize safety and preparation just as much as it celebrates how fun and easy it is to get started? The health of literally millions of players really depends on it.